Black played King b5. Pause the video to analyze White's next move. King e4. White is preparing to play King f5. Knight d7. On g6 and gain a significant edge. King c5 move preferred by Black. King f5. King takes d5. On g6. White is planning to play on g7. Knight d7. On promotes to queen at g8 check and take decisive advantage. Knight takes g6 was chosen by Black. King takes g6. King d4. On f7. King e3. On promotes to queen at f8. White is preparing to play queen takes d6 and secure a stronghold in the game. King d2. Black has no response. Let's go to the next game. White played Knight e6 check. Pause the video to spot Black's next move. King g4. On a4. On h4. Knight c7. On h3. On a5. On h2. Black is aiming to play pawn promotes to queen at h1 and put immense pressure on the opponent. On takes b6 move preferred by White. On takes b6. Knight d5. On promotes to queen at h1. Black wants to play queen takes d5 and take decisive advantage. Knight takes b6. Black is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. King e6. Pause the video to figure out Black's next move. King f4. Black considers playing king takes e4 and take decisive advantage. Knight c5 played by White. On g4. Knight d3 check. King e3. Black wants to play king takes d3 and take decisive advantage. Knight b2 move preferred by White. King e2. Knight c4. On f2. Knight d6. On promotes to queen at f1. King e5. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. Black played on a5. Pause the video to analyze White's next move. On b5. Knight e4. Knight takes d5. Knight g3. On f6. Knight f5 check. King e4. Knight g3 check. King f4. White intends to play king takes g3 and dominate the board. King takes d5 move preferred by Black. On f7. White's idea is to play king takes g3 and establish a winning position. Knight e4 played by Black. On promotes to queen at f8. White wants to play queen g8 check. King d6. Queen d8 check. King e6. King takes e4 and dominate the board. Knight c3. White has a strong upper hand. Let's go to the next game. White played King g7. Pause the video to spot Black's next move. Knight takes h5 check. King g6. Knight f4 check. King f5. White wants to play king takes f4 and establish a winning position. Knight d3 played by Black. Black is planning to play knight takes f2 and establish a winning position. Knight e4 was chosen by White. On f2. Black is preparing to play pawn promotes to queen at f1 check and dominate the board. Knight g3 move preferred by White. Knight takes b2. King e4. Knight d1. Black is aiming to play knight takes c3 check and put immense pressure on the opponent. On a3 move preferred by White. King d6. Knight f5 check. King c6. Black considers playing, pawn promotes to queen at f1, and take decisive advantage. Knight g3 was chosen by white. Knight takes c3 check. King f3 black is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game. White played. Knight f7. Pause the video and try to predict black's next move. Knight d4. Knight d6. Knight takes b3. Knight b7. White considers playing. On e6. Knight d2. On e7. On b3. Pawn promotes to queen at e8 and dominate the board. Knight d4 move preferred by black. Black is setting up to play. Pawn b3. King f5. Pawn b2. King b6. Pawn promotes to queen at b1 check and establish a winning position. Knight c5 move preferred by white. King c4. Black's idea is to play king takes c5 and establish a winning position. Pawn e6 was chosen by white. White is planning to play. Pawn e7. Pawn h4. Pawn promotes to queen at e8 and secure a stronghold in the game. Pawn b3 was chosen by black. Black is setting up to play. Pawn b2. King f5. Pawn promotes to queen at b1. Knight b3. Queen takes b3. King takes a6. Knight c6. Pawn e7. Queen b5 mate and secure a stronghold in the game. Knight takes b3 move preferred by white. Knight takes e6. Knight d2 check. King d3. Knight f3. King e4. King a3. Knight takes f4. Knight h4. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. Knight g7. Pause the video to analyze black's next move. King c2. Knight e6. Pawn b3 check. King takes a3. Pawn b2. Knight d4 check. King d3. Black might go for pawn promotes to queen at b1 and seize the initiative. King takes b2 was chosen by white. King takes d4. King b3. King e3. Black might go for King f3. King b4. King g2. King c5. King takes h2 and take decisive advantage. King c4 move preferred by white. King f3. King d3. King g2. King e4. King takes h2. King f4. King h3. Black wants to play. King g2. King g5. King takes g3 and take decisive advantage. King g5 played by white. King takes g3. King takes h5. White has no response. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. On a4. Pause the video to spot white's next move. Knight b6 check. King b4. Black is aiming to play. On a3. Knight d5 check. King b3. King e6. On a2. On g5. Pawn promotes to queen at a1 and seize the initiative. Knight takes a4 played by white. King takes a4. King f6. King b5. King g7. King c5. King takes h7. Knight e3. On g5. King d5. On g6. Knight g4. On g7. Knight f6 check. King g6. White considers playing king takes f6 and establish a winning position. King e6 move preferred by black. On h6. King e5. On h7. White's idea is to play Pawn promotes to rook at h8 and take decisive advantage. Knight takes h7 move preferred by black. King takes h7. King f5. Black is on the verge of defeat. Let's go to the next game. Black just played. Knight g4. Pause the video and try to find white's next move. On b5. Knight e5. On b6. Knight d7. On b7. Knight b8. King d6. Knight a6. King c6. On g5. King b6. White is preparing to play. King takes a6 and secure a stronghold in the game. Knight b8 move preferred by black. King a7. Knight c6 check. King a8. King g7. Knight a7. White wants to play. Knight takes c6 and put immense pressure on the opponent. Knight takes a7 played by black. King takes a7. King g6. King b6. King f5. King c5. On h5. Pawn promotes to queen at b8. King e4. White is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game. Black just played. King h2. Pause the video to spot white's next move. Knight e5. White is planning to play. Knight takes d7 and gain a significant edge. Knight b8 was chosen by black. Knight takes g4 check. King g3. King g5. King f3. King f5. Knight a6. Knight f6. King e3. King e5. White considers playing. King d6. King f4. Knight d7. King e4. Knight c5 check. Knight takes c5. King takes c5. King e3. King b6 and secure a stronghold in the game. King d3 played by black. King d5. Knight b4 check. King c5. Knight a6 check. King b6. White might go for king takes a6 and secure a stronghold in the game. Knight b8 played by black. King c7. Knight a6 check. King c8. White considers playing. Knight d5. King d4. Knight c7. Knight takes c7. King takes c7 and take decisive advantage. King d4 was chosen by black. Knight e8. King c4. Knight c7. White is planning to play. Knight takes a6 and increase their advantage significantly. Knight takes c7 was chosen by black. King takes c7. King c5. White is clearly ahead. Let's go to the next game.